Hi, this is 365801 and this is a reading wrap up for week 5 in February 2022. So this is the 5th week in 2022 and this runs from the 31st of January for me to the 6th of February. So the first week-ish of February, which I can't believe we're already at the end of the first week of February. What is going on? Anyway, so I've got a few things to show you here. Physical, not so many, some digital, and also some prose as well. So the first one I want to talk about is one that I finished and completed on the 31st, and I did mention it in my previous reading wrap up, and that is Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. I did a full review of this. I uploaded it on Saturday, so if you're interested, I'll put a link for that so you can go check out that review where I go through some of the things that I thought about it. So yeah, I also mentioned the fact that I got access to the first 5 chapters of Husband Material, and it is kind of annoying, but now I'm like, damn it, I am gonna have to buy Husband Material when it comes out, because I ate that up with a spoon. Those 5 chapters were devoured, and it kind of left it at a point where like, oh no. It was just nice. It was nice to revisit them even after just a few hours. I literally finished it early hours of 31st, like 1 or 2 in the morning, and it was like, come on, you've got to go to sleep. Oh, you're so close to finishing. And then proceeded to convince myself that I didn't enjoy it as much as I actually did. I should just own up to it. It was Bridget Jones's Diary. I mean, I'm sure other people have also made this comparison. It is basically Bridget Jones's Diary, but make it gay. That's what Boyfriend Material is. I mean, Luke is basically Bridget. It's the same character of someone who doesn't have their shit together, probably has some mental health issues, depression especially, and is supposed to be relatable, in inverted commas, and I hated the fact that he was... because I'm like, shit, have I become Bridget? Damn it, I haven't. And Luke is a better character in the fact that he is, as far as I'm concerned, more competent and less reliant on alcohol, drugs, etc. He's already in that recovery mode, and I think that was what I enjoyed about meeting him at that stage in his character. So, Mark Darcy, Oliver is basically the same character. He's a barrister. I mean, it's the same character, right? And stuck up, and yeah. So it's basically Bridget Jones's Diary, and they've got the same cast of like, also in inverted commas, funny, quirky friends. So there was definitely aspects to it that I felt was fun, but there was also things that I was like, meh. But because I had fun and an enjoyment of reading it, I didn't find any of the things detracting in any way. I really did enjoy the process of reading it. I thought that I was going to dislike the kind of way that the story is written, like so much of the thought process, but that's very much like what Bridget Jones's Diary was as well. It was her diary, so it was almost completely from her perspective, with like, you know, text messages and things like it was emails in Bridget Jones's Diary. We've moved on slightly from that, but it still felt like this was a Bridget Jones's Diary, which is in turn just Pride and Prejudice. So obviously I love Pride and Prejudice, so I was gonna love Boyfriend Material. So yeah, it's like, I enjoyed it for many reasons, but the fact that I could see in my head going, well, this is just Bridget Jones's Diary, which is just Pride and Prejudice, and I love Pride and Prejudice, so obviously I'm gonna love this. So yeah, I couldn't not enjoy Boyfriend Material, and because I'm now invested in their characters and their relationship, I'm going to look forward to it. The one big thing is fade to black. No, give me those smexy scenes. Hopefully we'll get them in Husband Material. Probably not. So the first thing that I read in February was also a 12 and 12 read, as well as a buzzword read. So the buzzwords for the month of February are pronouns and possessive pronouns. And one of my 12 and 12 recommendations was from Rin Reads Manga over on Twitter. I'll put a link. And I was recommended him by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. Now, this is because I was like, I'm going to read this at some point in 2022. It's on my list of things that people have gone on about in the male romance sphere, and I've seen people have gone like, oh, this is my best, this is my top 5. You know, lots of people have said this is one that needs to be read. So it's kind of like I'm making a list of these are the top male romance stories, and I'm making my way through them. So him, us, and Epic are all part of this. It's like a 2-volume series with an extra, as well as a couple of offshoot stories as well. Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy are quite prolific writers. They're very popular, especially when they write together. These ones, either people love them or they hate them, but because so many people love them, lots of people give them a go, and so the rating is it's still a really high rating, 4.3 and 4.34. It's like really high Goodreads ratings for the amount of people who have read them. I may as well just say I gave them 5 stars, so thank you, Rin. Yes, once again, my mutuals have come through and given me some great recs. It's a story that I was, just like Boyfriend Material, and how popular that is as well, I was afraid that I was going to go in there and I wasn't going to like it. It's something that I'm like, am I going to like this? Anyway, the story starts and it follows Jamie Canning, who is a goalie for an ice hockey team for his college or university, and Ryan Wesley, who is like an ace kind of, I don't know what, forward? I don't know what they're all called because I don't know ice hockey, for his ice hockey college team. And it just so happens that they're in kind of like the playoffs or the final tournament, and they have to re-meet after a few years of not seeing each other because they're childhood friends, and childhood friends that stopped being childhood friends when Ryan decided to ghost Jamie. He was like, I don't know you. For some strange reason. What could the reason be? Oh, it's so good. It was so good. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this. I don't want to go into it. I'm not going to, if you haven't read it yet, read it. Yeah, highly recommend it. Everyone is correct when they say it's good. The tagline is, they don't play for the same team, or do they? Like, yes. So yeah, there is some bisexual awakening in this, and I am here for it. Chef's kiss all over the place. I really didn't think I was going to enjoy it, and there's so much of it that I enjoyed. It had so many things that I liked. One was the explicit sexual content, which Boyfriend Material lacked. And I was ready for some explicit, so thanks, Rin. That's probably not what... Rin's like, what? That's not what I recommended it for. Maybe, but that's what I'm taking. It was great. I really did enjoy it. I liked the development. I liked going back and finding out what they were like when they were kids, and what happened to make them stop being friends, and how they kind of opened up to each other, and how much they were willing to, and how it became quite obvious that the relationship that they had developed as children, the 6 years that they knew each other every summer and throughout the year, and all the little things that connected them, like the box that they sent to each other, all of these little things just helped to kind of clarify that they had the connection anyway. There was something stronger there. Yeah, I really liked it. I liked Jamie's family. All the Cannings are really fun. I didn't think I was gonna like Blake. Blake was annoying as hell. And then as things went on, you were like, oh, maybe he's not a one-dimensional character. Maybe there's something more there. And so you knew exactly what was going on. At a certain point, you're like, clocked it. in Us. So when you get him, it's all about how they're kind of getting together, and then in Us, it's their kind of life when they are living together in Toronto, and you meet all of Wesley's teammates and things like that. It's just great. It's a really great time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I read Epic, and it was epic. Oh man, chef's kiss. It was so good. It was so good. Epic was probably one of the best extra little stories I think I've ever read, because it was just perfect. There were so many moments in Epic. I mean, you have to really, put in the time and read him and read Us. And I also read, wait for it, an MF book, Good Boy. So I read Blake. It was Blake's story, but it was like, hey, if you want their relationship, if you want to know more about these two characters' relationship, maybe read Good Boy. So I read Good Boy so I could see the thing that happens in Good Boy that we all know about that I'm not going to mention, because if you haven't read it, you don't know. So I could read about Blake's story, and this is an MF relationship. It did solidify within my own mind, and this is maybe me going off topic a little bit, how much I don't enjoy MF, especially erotica. Like, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't really enjoy it as much. I find female protagonists quite annoying in general. I'm like, no. If it was a male protagonist doing the exact same thing, saying the exact same thing, I probably would have been like, oh, okay then. But because it's female, there's something about me that just says no. And it was kind of ironic that at the same time that I was reading Good Boy and kind of going, not sure about reading all of these sexual, erotic, explicit sexual scenes between a male and female character and how I'm feeling about it. And on Twitter there was a wee bit of a Twitter storm, because there's always a Twitter storm, every week there's a Twitter storm, and it was about someone saying that they liked YA, but someone else had said, I wish there was more YA male romance that didn't have any explicit scenes. And they were saying that because they wanted it to be more inclusive to people who are maybe on the asexual spectrum. So for me, I'm like, cool, that's really great. Like me, I'm like, give me all that smut. Give me all that male smut. Those YA books, they can be smutty. I'm cool with that. So it kind of became this debate, because someone else had said, yeah, I don't like it when it becomes sexual. Just a little is okay, even though I write borderline MF erotica. And so it was like, well, what's your issue with that? For me, I mean, it's a personal preference maybe, but also a little bit of homophobia there, maybe. So I was thinking, hold on, am I heterophobic? Does that make me heterophobic? I don't know. Let me know if you're listening to this, watching this. Does it make you heterophobic if you don't particularly feel comfortable around heterosexual couples being affectionate? Because it actually does make me uncomfortable. And I don't know if that's my asexuality, like, coming to the fore. Like, let me know. If you're a counsellor or a psychologist, let me know. I need to know about these things. So yeah, I'm kind of putting it out there. I don't know if it's because I'm female or because I have a female body that sexual acts that involve the female body make me feel uncomfortable. I don't know what it is. If you're the same, let me know. If you're not, or if you don't want to talk about it, that's cool. But I just feel like I should put this out there, because a lot of people will say, oh, you should read X, Y, and Z. And most people will just recommend male romance to me, which is great. But occasionally people have said, oh, this is a traditional, in inverted commas, romance. You might like it. And I don't. I don't when it gets kind of sexual. And I don't like female protagonists most of the time either. Obviously Jane Austen is a different kettle of fish altogether. But reading this series was one, it really helped me to recognize my bias because I love Bisexual Awakening. But I love sports, loved that. Loved the family dynamics, love a bit of family, like the family interactions and that's what I really liked about Good Boy as well. I loved the family interactions. That was really good. But it also made me realise I don't particularly like heterosexual erotica. It makes me feel uncomfortable. So yeah, something you learn about yourself. Every day's a school day. But I gotta say, Epic was epic. And there were just some lines in there when I literally had to stop reading, laugh maniacally, and just revel in the moment of what it meant for Jamie to be in that uniform and on that ice and doing what he was doing and just being who he is, because I love Jamie. I didn't think I thought Wesley was going to be the one I was going to like the most because he's obviously the pining gay. But Wesley, he's so desperate. Everything he does is so desperate. He's so desperate for his love. Desperation is how I feel about Wesley. Whereas Jamie is a kind of cool, collected character, and yet goes through such a sexual transformation. And I really like that too. So open, so great. But Epic is great. So if you've read Him and Us and you haven't read Epic, you've got to. You have to. It's really short. Brilliant. I had such fun. Thank you, Rin. This was just as much fun as the Magpie Lord, and I didn't think I was going to have as much fun. I had a lot of fun with this. So far my 12 and 12s are 2 for 2. They are great. I'm loving them. Thank you so much. So from, I don't want to say the sublime to the ridiculous, but from something that's very well written, well structured, well paced, great characters, to something that is interesting characters, interesting plot, fun, but not particularly well written. And that is Finding the Wolf by Mel 8. I was doing a lot of other things like tidying up and stuff, and I thought a wee quick audiobook would be just the ticket. And so I clicked on Finding the Wolf, and it's just a short little maybe 2.5 hour long audiobook, but it kind of feels it like a first draft of a novel that hasn't actually been fleshed out and hasn't actually been written properly yet. Seems a bit rude. Or maybe the audience is, like not someone who has a huge breadth or depth of reading prior to picking this book up. It was fun though. The characters are great. It's all about Prince Leon, who is unfortunately a werewolf. He was turned even though he didn't have any choice. And Niall, who is the youngest dragon of his kind, who is tasked in finding the young prince and returning him to his humankind. Only he's not human anymore, so he can't really return there. And the two of them get it on. And that was okay. And there's not really much else to say about it. It's a fun story. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the action. I thought the world building is actually quite nice. It's just not poorly written. It's just simplistically written. And it feels like with someone else's input or a different hand at the helm or some support, this could have been a really fantastic story, elevated by more advanced writing. So yeah, it's good enough for book one, and it's short enough that I could probably carry on to the other books if and when I fancy it, but I might not do that for some time because of other things that I'm reading. So yeah, it was good enough as a wee quick read. And I do like a little bit of fantasy and supernatural stuff, so Finding the Wolf. So the last thing that I read is my only physical title for the week, and that is What Did You Eat Yesterday, Volume 5 by Fumi Oshinaga. Obviously, I'm going to be hopefully reading a volume every week for the foreseeable future anyway, until I run out of volumes. Volume 5 was really good. The corn soup recipe, I think I could do that. It seemed so simple and easy. Just some creamed corn, some stock, a little bit of egg and sesame oil. And I have, well, not all of those ingredients, but I have a tin of corn, and I can just use some of the corn and just whiz it up in a food processor, so I could totally make that. Most of these I can't make because I don't have mirin, and I don't have this kind of stock, or I don't have this kind of ingredient, and it's a little bit more difficult and expensive to get hold of in the UK. So I don't usually get a chance to make specific Japanese flavours myself without going to specialist shops to buy, and then it's very expensive. I can't really afford to buy all that stuff. Anyway, this one was really interesting. We ended up meeting some different characters. The Gilbert character, who sounds absolutely horrendous, and then when you meet him you're just like, oh, okay. How someone describes someone versus what they are actually like is really interesting. But yeah, it was an interesting volume this week because, well, the recipes were great, but there was real development, I think, in terms of how his parents have come to think of Kinji, and also purchasing rings, things like that. There was some nice little touches. It was quite heavy on the recipes this volume, I think. I felt like I was very much looking into the recipe book with just a little touch of the stories. There was more recipe. It was recipe heavy this time. But the banana cake, or pound cake they call them, they're just like loaves. It did make me think of all of the banana bread that I've made as well, and I was like, yeah, banana bread would be good. And oh, I do have a packet of cake mix. Do I have any bananas? No, I don't. Oh. It does make me want to make the recipes, and I finally did make the lasagna. I think it's from volume 3, so 2 weeks I've been thinking about this lasagna. I'm desperate to make this lasagna, so I finally made it, and I think Shiro would be really pleased and proud of me because there was loads of vegetables in it. I made it heavy on the vegetables so that it wasn't too bad for my aging body. So that was really enjoyable. I do enjoy this. I'm going to keep reading it. It's great. So that was everything that I read this week. Mainly digital prose, male romance, only this one manga, and absolutely no Futekia titles, which I'm kind of disappointed in because all week I've been going, oh, I can't wait for X, Y, and Z to be finished uploading, or I'm going to read this one next. And then I didn't actually pick up my tablet and read. So yeah, kind of got a bit distracted doing other things. Never mind. There's always next week, which is incidentally Manga Madness Readathon. There's also, oh my goodness, it's going to be ridiculous. Manga Madness Readathon. I'm obviously continuing with the buzzword Readathon. I've done my 12 and 12 this week, but a couple of other 12 and 12 recommendations also have pronouns or possessive pronouns, so I might be better off just reading them now. And so my 12 and 12s wouldn't really be 12 and 12s, it'd be 12 and 6 if I get them all done really quickly. And then there's also, I think Shay Geeks Out has another readathon at the end of the week, so it'll be over the weekend for Valentine's. So there's lots of reading going on. I think after that, the end of February, there's the Japanese readathon with a mini manga readathon section. So there's lots of readathons going on in February. It's like everyone had a really bad reading month in January, so they just decided February's when they're going to read everything. But I already read everything in January. I'm trying to reduce mine, and in that respect I'm happy because it's only a small number of titles this week. So yeah, that's everything I read for the week 5 in 2022. I'm 365-801. I make videos about BL manga, yaoi, male romance, and all that good stuff. Everyone, I'm really happy that you stuck with me to the end of this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up if you want, subscribe if you haven't already. Take care, everyone. Remember, every day is a BL day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.